Let's make a dessert, cassava cake with grated coconut. It's also known as tapioca cake or Khanom man sampalang in Thai. It only needs 7 ingredients. This recipe is for 10 to 12 servings. Start by adding 5 grams or about 25 pieces of butterfly pea flour to the heat-resistant bowl. Add 30 ml of hot water. Use a spoon to submerge and mix them well. This is the traditional method to extract the beautiful blue color from the flour. This step can be skipped if making only one color. Leave it aside for 10 to 15 minutes. While waiting, let's prepare the cassava. Cut 750 grams of cassava into half horizontally. Make sure to place a wet cloth or silicone mat beneath the chopping board for more stability. Carefully make the light cut that reaches the cassava flesh vertically. Guide the blade of the knife in between the skin and the flesh to separate both layers. Once separated, it is easy to peel off the cassava skin. I didn't cut through all the way to the top, so I made another incision and separated the layers. As it is not easy to remove the skin closer to the end of the cassava, I am removing it so I can peel the rest off easily. Repeat for the other half, cutting the end and discarding it first. Then, make a shallow incision and guide the knife in between the layer of the skin and the flesh of the cassava toward the middle. Placing the thumb in between the layers, gently pull off the rest of the skin. See, it comes off very easily now. Peel the skin at the end if it is a little stuck. Then, divide one half of the cassava into 4 parts. Carefully make a slanting indent in the center of each part. Turn it around. Make another indent to cross the first indent. This pushes out the thin, fibrous center of the cassava. Discard it and repeat for the rest of the cassava. Alternatively, you can also cut the cassava into 4 parts before cutting each semi-cylinder slightly off-center. Then, trim off the part with the thin brownish center core. That is the same fibrous center of the cassava. Alright, all done. Transfer all the cassava into a large basin. And let's go wash it. As the flesh is quite clean and just has some debris stuck on them, a rough rinse is sufficient. So I am rinsing them twice. Drain out all the water. And it is good. Now we can grate them. You can use a box grater if there is a small amount of cassava. Do be careful when using this tool, as when the cassava piece getting smaller, there is a higher chance of injuring the hand. If possible, use a pair of clamps to hold the pieces or stop at the end. This is what the grated cassava should look like. If preferred, they can be smaller as well. To save time, I will use a food processor with a grater disc that is similar to the box grater instead. It is quite safe too. Close and lock the cover. Start the machine. Place one cassava piece and press down with the foot pusher. See, it's all grated in seconds. Continue with the rest of the pieces. And we are done. Switch off the machine. It only took 30 seconds from start to finish. See, the cassava is roughly shredded into long strips. This is perfect as they will hold nicely after cooking. Set them aside. Prepare the steamer. Place the pan on the stove. Add about 1.5 liters of water or enough water to the pan to steam for about an hour over medium heat. Cover the pan and let it come to a boil. Next, check on the natural blue coloring. Pressing down on the petals against the side of the bowl to extract more color into the water. Strain the blue liquid to remove any solid particles. See, the color is quite deep and very pretty. Set it aside. Now, let's make the cassava cake. In a large mixing bowl, add all the grated cassava, scraping down the sides. Then, add 150 grams of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 280 ml of water. Stir roughly to mix all the ingredients. I prefer to mix with my hand, which allowed me to easily check when the sugar and salt have dissolved while squeezing the cassava lightly. This extracts the cassava liquid too, adding more flavor to the dessert. Alright, this looks good. Scoop half of the cassava mixture into a clean 7-inch square pan. If you are not making a second color cake, I recommend adding all the cassava mixture into an 8 or 9-inch square pan instead. This cooks the dessert evenly. Also, I recommend using the closed bottom pan as the liquid can seep out from the pan with a removable bottom. Level the grated mixture, adding a little more liquid to spread all the cassava evenly. The liquid is also needed to get a fluffy, moist and soft cassava cake. If a denser cassava cake is preferred, drain and discard some of the liquid. Next, add the butterfly pea flour liquid to the rest of the cassava mixture, stirring until the color is even. Then, transfer all the mixture to a clean 6-inch square pan. Level the grated cassava, spreading them evenly across all the corners of the pan. Next, cut the pandan leaf into smaller lengths. I cut them into 3 parts since they were very long. Put them aside. The water in the steamer is boiling vigorously now. Open the cover and place the steamers. Carefully stack both cassava cake pan in the steamer or add the second steamer layer if available. Distribute the pandan leaf all around the steamer to release its lovely fragrance as the cake steams. This is optional. Place a sheet of foil on the top of the pan to prevent condensed water droplets from dripping onto the cake. Cover the lid and let it steam for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, check on the cassava cakes. The cassava in the middle are still opaque, while the one on the side is already translucent. Poking with a fork reveals that it is still slightly wet. Place the foil back and cover the lid. Let it continue cooking for another 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, open the cover and remove the foil. The top cassava cake is now even, translucent color and is dry and soft. Carefully remove both cakes with a steamer clamp and let them cool completely for 1 to 2 hours for them to solidify. This makes it easier to cut them later. Meanwhile, let's prepare the grated coconut. Add 150 grams of grated coconut to a wide and shallow pan. And sprinkle 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Gently mix until both ingredients are well combined. While the water in the steamer is still at roaring boil, carefully add the seasoned grated coconut to steam. We need to cook the grated coconut so that it will keep for a longer period of time. Cover the pan to prevent water droplets from wetting the coconut. Steam it for about 8 to 10 minutes. Once steamed, remove it with a steam clamp and set aside to cool. After 2 hours, the cassava cake have cooled and hardened perfectly. There is no liquid even as I tilt the pan, and the surface of the cake are firm and dry. The grated coconut is also cooled completely. Cut the cake into squares of desired size. I cut them into 1.5-inch square for maximum enjoyment. Scoop them out from the pan and add them directly to the grated coconut. Then coat each piece evenly with grated coconut and set them aside onto a serving plate. Repeat for each cassava cake piece until no more is left in the pan. Next, cut the blue cassava cake into squares and scoop them out from the pan. Using a silicone spatula is easier. Place them all onto the grated coconut. Then coat each piece with the coconut before adding them to the serving plate. You can arrange them as preferred. I like them to be grouped into the same color. Serve with some coffee or tea drinks for the afternoon tea. Let's eat! Soft, fluffy, and lightly sweet. The cassava cake is very tender, going well with the fragrance of grated creamy coconut taste. Light and delicious. It's perfect for the afternoon snack. This is Home Cooking with Somjit. Thank you and bye-bye!